initiatives. All right. Thank you so much for putting me on the agenda. I'm really excited to talk about this project. So thank you, Annemiek, for inviting me. Wanted to discuss the Resilient Agricultural Land Initiative that we're undertaking here in Ventura County. Okay, so one of the important parts about doing policy work is making sure that you're connected to relevant frameworks within whatever agency that you are working under. And so the way that we're connecting this work to the county is through the county general plan, which in its last adoption included an agricultural section for the first time. So some of those sample agricultural elements are up here, and this is all accessible to everybody online. And it's about 2-point font in front of me, so I'm not going to be able to read that very well. So anyway, it's very broad across supporting local agriculture, infrastructure for selling locally and regional food systems, all the way to integrated pest management. If you can think of it, there's probably some way to connect it to the general plan. And the important part of that is it allows the county's different departments to pursue grants and other ways that they can bring money and resources into the county to pursue those things. So we did that. And there's now been 2 rounds of SALC funding. So the Sustainable Agricultural Land Conservation Program, which is funded by the Department of Conservation at the state level. So those grants can be used for land use planning, agricultural conservation acquisition grants. So that's like buying easements, or capacity and development grants. So we have successfully brought in 2 capacity and development grants, and the majority of what I'm going to talk about will fall under the first grant that we got, which we are now in the implementation stage of. So the all the Sustainable Agricultural Land Conservation Program information can be found at this website, which is hosted by the Agricultural Waste and Measures. So that includes a link to the SALC Project Gateway, which we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on. So please use it. It's got maps, climate projections, water resources, housing, poverty information, like any way you want to slice and dice this climate question. We put it in here, and unfortunately, this is a planning grant, so everything stops at the end of that grant cycle. So the less we invest in it, the less relevant the information becomes over time, right? But that infrastructure is there, and we're hoping someone will pick it up and champion it. We also have the Ventura County Resilient Agricultural Lands Initiative, which is a strategic planning document that that I'll go in more depth. We have the appendix to that, so that's 250 pages worth of analysis that shows you why we made these strategic recommendations. The Ventura County Agricultural Economic Impact Report, which gives you all the great stats that you want to quote in all your grant applications and your public speeches. And then the Ventura County Risk Assessment Report and the Ventura County Agricultural Education Awareness Strategy Report. So if you care about that ag education pathway, that's going to have a lot of information for you in terms of planning on how you might interface in Ventura County. So I want to focus the rest of the talk on the Resilient Agricultural Lands Initiative. So this is a strategic document that was adopted in late 2023 by the Board of Supervisors on our recommendation and the recommendation of the project partners. And so that is split into 4 cornerstones. And I wish I had printed my talk because I cannot read off the screen. So. Oh my gosh.
I can read it for you.
Maybe I can move this. Yeah. All right. I'm free. Okay. So we have secure, resilient future for agriculture, viable agricultural land base, support the growth of a robust agricultural economy, and catalyze community co-stewardship. Thank you for agriculture. So all of the recommendations, which there are literally hundreds, fall into these categories. So it pretty much connects to everything except for new water supply. So we don't touch anything on infrastructure related to bringing water in, but there's lots of information on everything that you might be interested in terms of agricultural resiliency. And that's on purpose because we want to give the county as much leeway as they can in all of their departments to get grants under any umbrella under this strategic plan, right? Because we don't know what the future's going to look like. But the question is, and I think this is a really cool aspect, is like, what does success look like? So how do we get from point A to point B? And this is the part I like the best about all the work that we did. So one, Ventura County remains one of the top agricultural production regions in California. I think that's a great metric for what does success look like in terms of resilient agricultural production here. Two, collaboration to solve the critical issues facing the agricultural sector. Three, a long-term collaborative plan to protect and sustainably manage water resources is developed and implemented. Working lands are valued as providing critical ecological and economic benefits, which are recognized as a key component of the region's ability to adapt to an uncertain future. Vibrant working lands are seen as key components to reducing the threat of wildfires. A co-stewardship principle emerges, manifested by increased public investment, awareness, and support for agriculture. Workforce investments result in labor supply stability, rising labor standards, and enhanced career opportunities to attract future generations of agricultural workers. Lands impacted by water supply reductions and climate change impacts are repurposed in ways that provide appropriate compensation for landowners, as well as public benefits such as flood protection, groundwater recharge, and ecosystem integrity. Farm and ranch ownership patterns remain dominated by local businesses, families, and those interested in production agriculture with roots in the community. Increased diversity of farm ownership and a pipeline of farm workers to small farm owners and operators. So again, everything under the sun, everything people care about and care about funding is touched in this document. So we only magnify that under each one of those cornerstones and under those key metrics. We came up with strategies. So we have some sample strategies here. For example, update and strengthen the right to farm ordinance to raise public awareness in all sectors of the local community about the importance of co-stewarding the agricultural industry for long-term resilience. Or encourage the establishment of infrastructure and supportive uses that facilitate the growth of the regional agricultural economy. So as big as you can think, we also start honing in on specific actions that could be taken by different nonprofit groups of farmers, departments, or agencies within the government. And then the question is, how do you prioritize these hundreds and hundreds of different recommendations? And how do you keep that grounded within the needs of the agricultural community? And so throughout the document, there's a reference to the agricultural roundtable. And this is an important connection to a long history in Ventura County of ag working together with other stakeholders, rooted in a project called the Ag Futures Alliance, which met regularly throughout the late 90s, early 2000s, and was publishing white papers on county solutions to challenges in a time when there was really heated debate in that rural-urban interface that is so unique to Ventura County. And so the work that we're doing right now is setting up the agricultural roundtable, whose mission will be to aid in the prioritization of all of those strategies, make recommendations to whomever is going to be the champion of those strategies. So it's not something that's held within the Ag Department of Weights and Measures, or within the Resource Management Agency, or at Cooperative Extension, or at Fox Canyon Groundwater Management Agency. because this should be a group that's able to interface with all of those different agencies as needed to pay, depending on what project is at the top of that prioritization. But how do we get there? Who gets to sit in the round table? Who doesn't? What's the methodology for decision making? How do we build consensus? Those are all really critical parts of making sure that the Ag Roundtable is successful. So that was the impetus for our application for the second round of SALC funding. So we project partners from the first round got together and said, okay, we need more money. We don't have the Ag Roundtable set up yet in order to be able to get some prioritization done, and we need some money to set it up. So we picked some very non-controversial items that were definitely needed and we felt had a lot of support in the community around ag education and ag, regional food systems, and put together another round of, requests for Department of Conservation through the SALC program. We were awarded that. And so that award is now paying for the facilitation and developing the bylaws and the charter, as well as like a stakeholder engagement report specifically to stand up the Ag Roundtable, in addition to that other scope that we're not going to get into because it's not my project. So I'm going to invite you to get involved. If you would like to be involved in this process, you can scan this QR code and you'll be taken to a Google form where you will answer a series of questions around what's important to you, what your background is, so that you can be involved in the process. And we'll be working throughout the rest of the year to finalize the bylaws and charter, identify who the first Ag Roundtable members will be, and then start that prioritization process of the RALI. So I'm at 12 minutes of my 15 minutes. Does anyone have a question for me? All right, Derek Noble.
Maureen, do you know of any other counties or efforts being undertaken outside of Ventura County along these lines?
Yeah, so our RALI was modeled after some work that was done in Merced. I know that they're a couple years ahead of us. And Santa Clara? Yeah, so there's like 3 or 4, and then some of the northern counties. I think YOLO had a small kind of strategic plan that's pretty different than ours because their situation is different. Some of the ones that I'm looking forward to seeing, but I do not think are in progress or process yet, are like our sister counties like Santa Barbara, SLO, Monterey, and to my knowledge, we are further along in the process than they are.
So nothing in San Diego, which is highly diverse and, oh man, highly urban.
Yeah, I'm not totally, if there is something in San Diego, it was the recommendation, like what I'm remembering is a chart of all of the different similar funded projects. And we took all the best ideas from everybody. And I guess their ideas were not at the top of the list. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist, just that maybe we weren't as influenced as, I think we took a lot of Merced's materials, for example. Yeah. Other questions? All right, back on track. I don't know if there's anything in the chat. Oh, other people asking about San Diego. Great.
Oh, no, that's neat.
Oh, it's Lillian. Okay. Great, thanks. All right, thank you so much for having me.
That's very good to go back to our rally. That represents so much work, and it really is a